So, this next series of videos, I'm going to really be looking at how we can use Excel to do some basic stuff, because we're going to be using it quite a bit in this class. But the very first thing I wanted to do is I really wanted to go over the four most common errors that you'll probably see in Excel, what they mean, so we can fix them. Excel is really a programming language. It's just a visual programming language. And so being able to troubleshoot your own equations is a great thing. And in cells B6 through E6 here, I have four errors. So what do those mean and how do I fix them? We're going to start with this first one here. All these pound signs, hash signs, or hashtags, as I know they've been known to be called now, well, a bunch of these symbols does not really mean an error, even though we think it does. What we have here is, hey, all this is Excel telling you that number is too big to display in the cell. So if I can either grab up here and make the column wide, or I'm just going to double click on it, you see that, yeah, there's a number there. It's just way bigger than can be displayed. Now, it's not really an error, because even if you have this guy and you see the bunch of hashtag symbols, you can still do an equation based off of them, and you will get a number, because even though it's not showing that number, it knows that there's a number there, and so it's still executing the command on them. So not really an error, but kind of an error. This one here is the big one, divide by 0. We know that you can't do that. We end up forming a black hole or some weird mathematical stuff. And all that means is I've divided by 0. Now, if you look at my equation here, it says 15 divided by 0. Very rarely are you going to do that. What's going to end up happening is somewhere in your equation, you're going to have the denominator, and because of the way that you coded it in, the labor hours plus the manufacturing time minus something is just going to work out to be 0. And so basically you see a divide by 0 error. You just need to go through and look and find out in some way that you've coded your equation, it's allowing the denominator to be 0. Self-explanatory, easy to fix. The last two are these value and these name errors. Now see, when you see these pop up, what's going on is the first one's a value error. And so what happens with the value error, it means that you've tried to multiply a number by a name, or by actually a text string. And this will happen a lot if you end up putting things like units in with your number. So I take a look at here, I've got 15 oranges, 20 apples. Now I've got those in different cells. Now if I put in here 15 oranges, now let's say that I wanted to take my 15 oranges and multiply it by my 20 apples, I'm going to get that value error. Because what I've done is, since I put text in here, it's no longer a number, it's now a word. I'm trying to multiply a word by a number, and which is what I forced it over here to do. As you see, I multiplied 15 by oranges, and Excel's sitting there going, look, you can't multiply oranges by 15. We just can't handle it. And so how do you fix that? You just go through and you make sure that's a number. The last one that is common would be a name error. And so we have functions in Excel, and we're going to learn all about functions. Basically, all a name error means is I put in a function that it doesn't exist. So in this case, I tried to use the function apples 15, and Excel's popping back going, I have no idea what you're talking about, dude. There is no function called apples. And so that will happen a lot. Basically, if you're typing something, you just key it incorrectly. And so you mean to type in some product and you leave the T off and it can't recognize it. And so those are those four really common errors that you may see while you're using Excel, and that's how to fix them.